Sir, the President in his address has indicated what steps have already been taken and have been proposed to be taken in order to bring about land reforms. Honorable members of this House are also aware of the CRESS programs initiated to meet the problem of unemployment. They are not enough and much more remains to be done. The President has informed Parliament that the interim report of the Unemployment Commission is under examination of the government. What I would like to point out is that the government are fully conscious about the pledge they gave last year in this regard, and active steps have been taken in that direction. There is no denying the fact that, barring the small scale sector, the progress made so far in the field of industry is very slow and, in our own view, quite unsatisfactory. The President in his address has indicated the steps taken and proposed to be taken to improve the situation in this regard. But I would like to say that the efficiency and strength our armed forces have shown in the war with Pakistan gives a clear indication that we have already achieved a sufficiently strong industrial base, without which we could never have acquired so much military strength. The price situation is not good and leaves much to be desired. Nevertheless, it must be omitted that it is largely under control. Had it not been so, the Bangladesh situation, the refugees, and the war would have caused havoc in the markets. But the truth is that, in spite of the government having to shelter and feed 10 million refugees and having to fight a difficult war to a quick finish, there was no consequent and appreciable rise in prices or shortage of supplies. This was possible only because the steps taken by the government to arrest the prices have started producing results, and the government must be congratulated for the same. It should be remembered that price rise is not peculiar to India alone, but a world phenomenon today, and considered in that context, our performance is certainly not very bad. The greatest achievement of the government during the last 1 year was on the question of Bangladesh. It was indeed a remarkable performance which will go down in history, not only in our own history but also in the history of the entire mankind, as an unparalleled and unprecedented event of tremendous significance and great historic importance. The great power on earth, the United States of America, has so far failed to beat the Vietnamese even after fighting a most cruel and inhuman war for 8 long years. But we have not only fought back an aggression to a successful end within just 14 days against a formidable enemy armed and equipped by two powerful nations of the world, but also succeeded in liberating 75 million people of Bangladesh from tyranny and torture, and in solving the greatest refugee problem ever faced by any country in the world. Sir, let me take this opportunity to hail the emergence of Bangladesh as a sovereign, independent country and express our warm greetings and best wishes to the government and the people of Bangladesh. I am sure that with common ideals of democracy, socialism, and secularism, India and Bangladesh will be able to march together as two most friendly countries and through mutual respect and cooperation towards the establishment of peace and progress in this subcontinent. Let me take this opportunity also to warmly congratulate the men and the officers of the three services of India for their great heroism, high sense of patriotism, and magnificent performance. But may I raise a question in this regard? How was it possible to achieve such a remarkable success on the issue of Bangladesh? Was it just a luck or a favor of circumstances? I personally do not think so. To my mind, there are three basic reasons why and how we could come out with such flying colors. The first is the establishment of a strong and stable government at the center through a massive update of our people last year. Had the central government been weak or unstable, I do not think our government should have faced such a situation with so much courage and determination. To this extent, and to the extent our people stood united like a solid rock behind the government during the whole crisis. The first credit for this success must go to the people of India. Secondly, we fought not only in defense of our sovereignty and national integrity, but also for a great cause and for high ideals. Such a quick and magnificent success was possible only because our government and under its direction our armed forces were all the time guided by certain basic principles which we hold dear and to which we are pledged. Had the forces of right reaction or those of left advertisement been in power at the center, the whole thing would have gone in a wrong direction and the consequences might have been disastrous. The third factor that contributed most to our grand achievement was the magnificent leadership provided by our Prime Minister. We are only to recollect those days and those critical hours in this house, in the other house, and in the whole country when there was impatience all around. There was bitter criticism of the government. There was mounting pressure on the government for all kinds of action, and remember how calmly and quickly and at how courageously and resolutely our Prime Minister went ahead with her course of action without either relaxing into complacency or bending before threats and pressures. Any slip or little mistake or the slightest wavering on her part would have created the slightest wavering series of serious difficulties. But our Prime Minister rose to the occasion. She emerged as a leader and savior of our nation at a most critical and difficult moment of our history. She has redeemed all her pledges were ably